Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a beer, it is time for some Path of Exile discussion. Today saw patch 3.17.3 go live. Now, this has a number of bug fixes in it, including one that will have a significant impact on players that mess around with heist much. However, the big feature that was added in this was controller support in beta. I did a separate video discussing this when it was announced that they were planning it, but if you're a PC player and you've wanted to experience the console life of playing with a controller, then you can now do that in Path of Exile. Just expect that there'll be a number of bugs early on. This is being released as a beta for a reason. GGG want to squash the last bugs of it before 3.18 comes out. 3.18 is probably 6 or 7 weeks away, maybe 8. And at that point, they're going to want to have this in a polished state. It is not in a polished state at the moment. If you're the sort of player that gets really irate when a bug happens, then I would suggest you don't use controller support at the moment. Just hold off until it's actually in a release state. As well as that, GGG are looking for feedback if you own a Steam Deck. I'm Australian, so Steam Decks are basically unavailable. For those of you that are in the United States, Canada, the European Union, or the United Kingdom, they are looking for feedback on how the game plays on a Steam Deck. Again, expect bugs. So in terms of other little fixes that are being made, the first thing to note is that there are still no further changes to the Arch Nemesis UI, and this means that I think we can confidently say that this system is being scrapped at the end of 3.17. I do hope to see Arch Nemesis in a refined form in the future. I like the fights, hate the inventory micromanagement with it, and I'd like to see them just bring this system back as a unique map. But ultimately, I think we can say now that with no further changes being made, they've just decided to walk away from this system. I will miss the fights, I will not miss the micromanagement. In terms of other changes that are coming in 3.17.3, there is a significant change to heist. So there is a bug currently with the heist NPCs that when they're in grand heists, all of the values of their various buffs, for example, for Vindiri, this is increased alert percent, which is a downside, but it's part of the buff, and percentage chance for chests to be duplicated, for chest contents to be duplicated. This is currently displaying on the screen as twice what it actually is when you're in a grand heist. So this all seems fine. This is just an annoying little bug that probably people don't notice because you don't play grand heists with map mods revealed, and they show up as map mods. So you're thinking, oh yeah, this makes no difference. But it has also resulted in Gianna's Unveil discount being doubled and this actually is not just a display effect. This is a real effect in the game until 3.17.3. So if you had Gianna at level 5 in Deception, and you ran a heist with her, and then you went and used Gianna's discount to unveil a wing of a blueprint, you're getting 70% off instead of 35% off. Well, this bug, the way that it affects Gianna is also being fixed. So what's this going to mean? If you're the sort of player that doesn't really play heist content much, then this is going to be a buff for you. This is going to mean that the rogue markers that you find while mapping, particularly from Bounty Pack, if you have that section of your passive tree allocated, they're going to be worth a lot more now because the value of rogue markers was severely depressed because of this bug existing. On the flip side, if you're the sort of player that does run a lot of heist, then this is going to be a nerf to you if you are running a large number of Gianna unveiled blueprints. Ultimately, I think this is going to cause a little bit of a rebalance in the trade league economy, and I expect rogue markers will increase in value considerably as a result, but ultimately heist will remain a profitable way to play the game if you like it, and probably also something you can ignore in a trade league if you don't like it. Where the profit is going to vary a little bit. That said, Gianna's unveils are now back to 35% at level 5. In terms of other things, everything here is pretty minor. One bug that's a really interesting one, that this actually looks like a fairly ominous line in the patch notes, but it's not. The overkill explosion from the punishment curse no longer occurs if the curse is owned by the defender or one of their allies. This is fixing one of the most ridiculous bugs that almost never occurs. This sounds like it's a nerf to the punishment curse. Actually, no, it's not. It's a buff to it. There is a very, very rare situation where a monster can be killed by a self-inflicted hit or by a hit that is inflicted by something that is allied to the monster. The usual way that this comes up in practice is that you apply punishment to a zombie in a labyrinth, then the zombie dies to a labyrinth trap. Now, when that labyrinth trap hits it, it will deal physical damage equal to 60% of the zombie's base life, plus 36% of the energy shield if that zombie has any energy shield. If the zombie, for instance, was at 5% life at the time that hits, then this is going to cause it to take 55% of its life as overkill damage. This would then be reflected by the punishment curse. But because the killing factor was the trap, and traps are harmful to players, as well as to zombies, this would then result in any player that's nearby being hit by an overkill explosion from the punishment curse. This has resulted in a number of high-profile one-shots over the years, including like hardcore characters getting killed that are super, super, super overgeared, that then go into Eternal Lab or even Merciless Lab and get killed by this combination. So this is no longer going to one-shot players in ridiculously contrived situations. So much is required to explain it because it basically never happened. There's a couple of client crash fixes related to Stygian Firestorm, in case anyone is playing Firestorm, Scorching Ray, in case anyone is playing Scorching Ray, and just a number of other little tiny things that have been done here. But the big news today is the controller support beta, the heist bug fix on Gianna that is going to have a big, big impact on how the heist economy works, and also this hilarious fix to the punishment curse. That's all I've got. May your Valobs have interesting results, and I will see you around.